Good evening, everybody. It is, wait, there we go. Hi, I'm back again. Um, Welcome to the show. I am currently reading my dad's manuscripts. Currently on chapter 24 of 27. So I think it pretty much says everything. So if you're just tuning in now, it's probably best that you go back to the beginning. Otherwise, you're really going to be really confused. Um, Although not as confused as you would have been last night. Um, Bit of a warning, I do have two kittens who are in the office right now, which means shenanigans. Basically, shenanigans. That's all you can really expect. Is that anytime they're in here, and I can't really help that. I've been trying to herd them out. I realize I'm an adult human and I'm much larger than they are, but this is their own thing. I may have to get up and just physically remove them. We'll see how that goes. Um, At any rate, tonight will be a short reading, and I'm also sorry that I started later. Ideally, I wanted to start at 7, but it's been really hectic at my day job, so it's been kind of hard for me to stay on track with everything. Um, so I'm starting now, and this one's really short. I'm going to see how long it takes me to read because sometimes, even though it may have only a couple of pages, the pages might be dense. So you never know. Um, but without further ado, we're going to be reading chapter 24. Um, when last we left our heroes, they had just parked the table that they were riding on. Think flying carpet, only flying table. um, yes, I know, a little bit strange. Okay, and you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to excuse some kittens. Okay, guys, everyone, out of the office. Come on, let's go. I'm going to try and hurt them anyway. Bear with me. This would have been a short stream anyway, if I had done this. Okay, everyone out of the office now. Come on, everyone out. Yep, out. Okay, I have to carry you. Okay, I have to carry. Cat 1, kitten 2. Hi, you guys. Okay, there you go. Door closed. Accidents happened. Um, I should actually quickly just go check and make sure everything's okay. Or it'll be fine. All right. Sorry about that. Um, Everyone's been evacuated, and now it's just you and me. And I will read the story and then go from there. Chapter 24 of The Sword and the Rose. If you don't mind, I'd prefer it if you take us to Gwilla's Hole as near directly as possible. We'll be traveling across the most heavily populated area of Wardic Barony, my Lord Baron. I prefer to get there before Lord Wardic himself can arrive. I'll do my best, my lord. As they had done on the voyage to Wardic Castle, they found a place to hide for the night while they rested. They did what they could for Jadal, but he had open wounds. He had few open wounds, but was bruised all over his upper body, arms, and shins. As I said, my Lord Baron, I am not skilled in healing magic. I'll do what I can, though. If we had time, I'd look up a few herbs and make a proper soothing ointment. But if we wish for such things, why not wish for a spell to take us back to Grandel Castle in one night? Jadal woke up briefly the next morning while they were in flight, and the sudden sight of familiar faces threw him into a panic. Pemberlin put a quick sleep spell on him before he could become too agitated. The magician looked at Gwalsor. Sleep will be the best thing for him. When we pause at noon, I will wake him and we'll see how he does then. Pemberlin woke the boy at noon. He was confused. My Lord Baron, how do you come to be a prisoner here? Look around, Jadal. You're free, and so are we. We're on our way to Gwilla's Hole. But Baron Wardick said I was being held until you gave up Gwilla's Hole. Baron Wardick has said a number of things and done some things for which we will be held to account. But we came down and rescued you. The boy looked around. No, Jadal, the Baron forestalled his protest. There was no time to send a force of mounted men, so the five of us, by means of Master Pemberlin's art, have come down and brought you out of his prison. Jadal was even more horrified to find that they were riding on a flying table, and it was clear that he was having trouble holding down what little lunch he had taken. If you intend to throw up, young master, might I suggest you lean over the edge of the table so as not to discommode your fellow travelers? Something about Pemberlin's quiet but firm approach helped the Jadal to buck himself up, and soon he was sleeping again. During the flight, there was ample time for thinking, and Gwalsor continued to fret a little over the question of whether he ought to have mustered his forces, battered as they were from the rebellion. There would be widows, old men, and children out tending the fields that the young men ought to be caring for, and there might well be hunger in some of those hamlets next year. Then again, Wardick had hoped to gain his demands because Grandal had just been through a rebellion and might not be able to muster the troops to fight. And Wardick might just feel that though he had lost his hostage, he might still be able to gain his demands by fighting for them. So Grandal must be ready to fight as well. There were hardships and possible complications whichever way Gwalsor moved. With luck, he could see to it that the mustering of the troops would cause less problems than any other option. Nor was it purely altruistic concern for his people. If Wardick continued to press, the barony could be worn down over the course of years to the point where it could no longer defend itself. For the rest of that day, Jadal slept, waking only to eat and drink. In the middle of the night, though, there was a wordless shout that brought them all suddenly awake. Jadal was thrashing about under his bedclothes, shouting against something or someone. Jadal took the boy's shoulder until he opened up his eyes. Even then, Jadal did not recognize where he was. Jadal, you're safe now. We've got you out of Wardick Castle. Salder's tears. Give us some light here. Pemberlin, look here. Jadal, it's me, Gwalsor, and Malga, and Pemberlin, and Tostag. Come on, look at me, boy. Yes, that's better. You're safe now. You can go back to sleep. Gwalsor sat beside Jadal until the page finally slept. Next day, Jadal spent more time waking. I believe Wardick was hoping you wouldn't ransom me, he told. He told Gwalsor once. He'd have brought me to him at any other hour of the day or night and questioned me about the forces Grandal had available and the losses we'd taken in rebellion. I told him nothing, my Lord Baron. Jadal's eyes looked up at him, beseeching to be believed. Gwalsor nodded. You did well, boy. It hardly mattered if Jadal had told Wardick everything he knew. Wardick almost certainly had spies in Grandel, just as Malgathuff was managing spies in Wardick Barony, and they each probably had a fair idea of how the other was outfitted. How are you taken? Jadal frowned. I was talking with a man, a brewer, and it seems he was asking me the best way to I can't remember the town, he grimaced. The next thing I remember was finding myself stuffed in a cask smelling of old ale. There was a bunghole next to my face that let me some get some fresh air, but I was dizzy and half drunk during the whole ride. I don't know how far we were into Wardick Barony before we were met by a light horseman. They tied me to a horse and took me along to the castle as fast as they could travel. Three with spears, one with a sword, and one with a club. One has a bow and acts as if he knows how to use it. And we have not bow. That's serious bad. Swordsman, I think maybe Baron or me can manage both. Spearmen are trouble. Good spearmen have advantage over swordsmen or axemen. Still, we do right, we manage. He rapid, he rapidly explained his plan to them. Okay, this part is messy. Oh, I see what happened there. Okay, hold on. That's because I'm missing page 4. Whole page that I'm missing. Let me just see if I can pull it up. No, it's not going to take me a very long time. Mostly because it's right here. Okay. Okay, there we go. But let me start at the beginning. How are you taken? Shadal frowned. I was talking with a man, a brewer, and it seems he was asking me the best way to I can't remember the town, he grimaced. The next thing I remember was finding myself stuffed in a cask smelling of old ale. There was a bunghole next to my face that let me get more fresh air, but I was dizzy and half drunk the whole ride. I don't know how far we were into Wardick Barony before we met by light horsemen. They tied me to a horse and took me along to the castle as fast as they could travel. Wellsor nodded. I'm not so sure, though I didn't expect to get a ransom for you. He was demanding not only that we give up Gwillis Hole, but we reinstate Kendaldar at Ezric. You've been at enough meetings and councils to know what that would mean. Another rebellion in a year or so, my Lord Baron? Just so. And even if I had been disposed to give up Gwilla's hole, I couldn't have Dar Ezric back. So you see, I had to come get you out. Yourself, my Lord Baron? Gwalthor grinned. Now you're starting to sound like Forays or Malgathop. Neither of them wanted me to come, you know. But what of the barony if you've been killed, my Lord Baron? Just the sort of thing they said. But the thought of sitting back in the castle and biting my nails while other people took risks did not appeal to me. So I came. And now I think it'd be just as well for you to rest. Oh, there you go. On the fourth night out of Wardick Castle, they were attacked. Pemberlint shook Gwalsor awake. Get the others up. There are men approaching, 6 of them, and they have the look of broken men, bandits, who'd kill us for our clothing, if for naught else. How did they know we were here? Gwalsor was pulling on his boots as they spoke. One of them came by accident a while ago, while hunting. He went away afterward, though, so I thought it not worthwhile waking the rest of you. I had him watched, though, and when he got to his camp and called to his friends, I knew it was time to be ready. Malgathup, as usual, was awake and a little more than embarrassed to hear that someone had managed to come on them without alerting him. However, fully able to take charge of the situation. What arms they have? 3 with spears, 1 with a sword, and 1 with a club. 1 has a bow and acts as if he knows how to use it. And we have no bow. We not have bow. That's serious bad. Swordsman, I think maybe Baron or me can manage both. Spearmen are trouble. Good spearmen have advantage over swordsmen or axemen. Still, if we do right, we manage. He rapidly explained his plan to them. They came slipping through the dark woods, carefully, quietly. Men who have been cast out of society for whatever reason usually survive. Sorry, men who have been cast out of society for whatever reason usually survive by learning the skills of remaining unseen and unheard. They moved into position quickly. One of them hooted like an owl quietly for a signal. Then the bow hummed. An arrow struck one of the blanketed, wrapped figures around the remains of a campfire. The rest rushed forward, still not making a sound until the second arrow struck. When they began shouting, sorry, until the second arrow struck, when they began shouting as they prepared to fall upon the sleepers. There was a grunt where the bowman hid. 2 other men, one armed with a sword, the other armed with an axe, rushed out of the brush to follow on the outlaws. To add to the confusion of the thieves, an arrow from the bowman's hiding place struck one of the spearmen. Another of the spearmen took an arrow as he began to engage the swordsman facing him. Then Malgathup, with chancy light, unfamiliar with chancy that does not make sense. With chancy light, an unfamiliar weapon, and the melee closing, discarded the bow and came charging out of the brush, shouting, Loch Saya! As he ran. Steel rang and sparked against steel in the grove. Steel rang and sparked against steel in the grove, and men shouted and screamed. Then suddenly it was over. The outlaws were dead, and the victors leaned on their arms, catching their breath. Malgathup grinned at Gwalsor. Even most careful hunters sometimes not look for what hide in trees above. Just so. Now what? Now what do we do? move, move our camp a little and leave these here where they lie, or drag the bodies a little into the brush and keep our campsite. By now, Pemberland, Judal, and Edicdah were coming back into the clearing. Judal had been a little rebellious at the thought of hiding in a tree, but Malgathup had said, "Listen, you not can stand, for sure not fight. Either hide in the tree yourself, or I knock you on the head and tie you to a branch." Which? Judal had climbed the tree on his own. Late the next afternoon, they came to Gwilla's Hole and found its vicinity crowded with armed men with banners, most of the knights holders of Grandal barony flying above them. Da, da, da. Yes, and what I learned from this is that I need to print off. I need to print off chapter 24 again because this one is not complete. It's missing a page. So yeah. Um, so that's pretty much everything for tonight. I will keep it kind of short, just because I'll keep it short because I am still recovering from this, and B, I want to go check and make sure that everyone's okay out there, and C, I'm gonna have a longer night for tomorrow night because I will finish up reading all the chapters. Well, not all the chapters, but some of them. And then I'll have all day Friday as a wrap up night where I'll talk about my impressions on the story overall and all the different parts I think need to be added to. This one specifically as well because it's another shorter chapter. Anything that's a shorter chapter has a tendency to need more stuff in it because it was needed to be fleshed out more. That's even with the plate pages included that I read tonight. So, all right. Without further ado, I'll talk to you all again. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Antics and all, I will endeavor to try and make things a little more calm for the next 2 nights. And then, as I said before, I'll be taking a bit of a break while I finish editing and reconstructing and writing parts of the story. That'll take me a little while. In the meantime, I may be doing some weekly streams where I'm not going to be possibly gaming. Eventually, I do want to end up doing my secret project and releasing that out, but that's still a ways off because I still have a lot to work on with it. Um, yeah, but thank you again. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will talk to you all in the next one. So, bye.